Welcome back to the NFToyz with a Z podcast. We are back after a bit of a break. Things just kind of got busy.
Yes.
And we just did not have time to record a podcast. But we are back with a probably not very regular, but at least we're here today.
Yes.
Podcast.
We'll try our best.
We're doing our best,
it's kind
okay?
of funny because last time we had a podcast, it's like, oh no, we took a little break and then we're going to be back on schedule.
We're back.
And then it fell off.
Okay. At first it was like, okay, we're going to do this 3 days a week. Okay, we're going to do this every weekday. All right, so like once or twice a month?
Yeah. Whenever we
How
want.
this is going? But yeah, I mean, the eventual goal is to get it into a regular schedule, but
Yes.
you know, things
Yes.
come up, work happens, life happens.
Yeah.
So we're doing the best we can.
Crap happens.
Crap happens.
As always.
But
welcome back. We're here to talk about more NFT.
and today we're talking about some Solana stuff.
Yes. Yes.
'Cause we're done with Ethereum. No, we're not.
Which my
We're not.
excuse, Allison,
Yes.
is that since, if we would have done the podcast as we planned maybe weeks ago, I would have not had that much to talk about because I was just kind of getting into Solana,
Like
trying
you
to
would
figure
ever
things
not
out.
have that much to talk about. Let's be real here.
I'm just trying to justify our little hiatus.
But
Okay.
I actually do think that played into the hiatus a bit because you
Yeah.
got so into
Yeah.
learning about Solana and trying stuff out in Solana.
Yeah. Got
that
really frustrated.
Just got a little distracted and very frustrated. Yeah.
Yes, with Solana. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about a little bit about all that today, and more, I'm sure. So yeah, so Solana is a different blockchain. It's not like Ethereum. So you have a lot of other side chain or what you call like different blockchain that is based on Ethereum that you can write code for, that works for them. They call EVM compatible blockchain, but Solana is something completely different. They took a different approach. They use instead
So
of
they are
using,
not EVM.
They're not EVM. They're not even closed. They don't do anything. But supposedly,
Which is why this makes Sun so angry.
I know because
He's
it's
like, I'm used to Ethereum.
yeah,
I'm
and
used to EVM.
it makes me so uncomfortable having to learn something new and having to
So
kind of
you have to learn Rust for this, right?
not quite
No?
because
Okay.
there is I can go into it a little bit more, but yes, you technically should know Rust to do to write these smart contract or on Solana they call programs, but you don't but right now there's like they people are trying to build different sort of abstract layers, a different kind of framework on top of it. It's like JavaScript and React. Do you need to know JavaScript? You kind of, but then you have
Like
React has
vanilla JavaScript.
right, but React
Yeah.
has a different kind of mental model that you can just code in React, but not having to know like all the nitty
Quirks
gritty
and everything of
vanilla
vanilla JavaScript. Yeah.
So the same thing with this. There's framework on top of it that people are building to abstract the Rust. And Rust is a very bare bone language. It's kind of a little bit lower level than JavaScript, right? And people compare it to like C or C++, where you got to do some memory management. You got to do manage a lot of things. Like things are not free, in the sense of they don't do stuff for you. You got to
Right.
do some of these things manually. But anyways, that's a different story. But yeah, so anyways, got into Solana, looking it
Okay,
up.
I wanted to talk a little bit about why you got into Solana right now. And at least a little bit of the reason why you did is because there's a big hackathon going on
There's a big hackathon
right now,
but
which we're actually probably not going to participate in.
they actually
but-
delayed. They
Oh, did
delayed it for 15 days. They said that is because of due to popular demand. Maybe I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe. And they're delaying it 15 days, or maybe just I don't know. Maybe something is wrong.
So that means the deadline is near the end of October?
No, I think it's mid October, maybe.
Wasn't it like October 9th or something?
So now
Originally-
maybe October
So that would make it
20 something.
24th,
Something.
25th?
Anyways, we'll leave a link in the show note, and you can look at it and you can tell us because you can tell we did not do any homework. before this. Allison didn't even know about it. But anyways, so there's a hackathon. But before the hackathon, Allison, it's not even the hackathon.
Like that was a little bit
That's
of
a
why,
little bit of
but
a push. But it's because it's the latest hyped blockchain. Just like Polygon was maybe a few months ago.
Because like we've talked about in the past, in previous episodes, Ethereum is freaking expensive.
It is expensive, yes.
So we're all looking at other alternatives that don't cost quite so much.
Yeah.
And I think Solana right now is probably the most popular of those.
Yes, it has a big enough ecosystem. And when I say ecosystem, I meant like it has a wallet. It has a bunch of different wallet options for you.
Is that Phantom?
Phantom is one of them. Yes, my favorite. And
would that make you a fanboy spelled with a PH?
Fanboy. Yes. Yes.
Not just because you're Vietnamese.
A fanboy.
Sorry,
That's
I
good.
am
That's
full
good.
of terrible jokes today.
That's good. I should tell them that. I should create like a fan group, Allison.
You
fan
should.
group.
You should. But yeah, Sun is always talking about Phantom on Twitter and recommending it to people.
Yeah. So it's compared to Ethereum, it has a nice ecosystem to kind of support its growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's kind of needed for these blockchain is that, if the UX or the user, if it's not user friendly, nobody's going to use us.
If it's really hard to use, then,
it's going to be hard.
You can't expect that much adaptation.
Yeah. And I see it got really popular because I think it was just like everything in crypto goes through cycles, and it gets pumped and a hype cycle, and it gets pumped and gets pumped to crazy amounts, and it gets hyped and everyone talks about it, and it keeps going up, and then it crashed. But so Solana, I feel like it's one of those, it's going through that hype cycle right now, just like Polygon did in like 6 months ago. But without that, with that said, I still think it has a lot of promise. It has a lot of potential. It has a nice ecosystem being built around it. It has a lot of people using it already. The NFT scene on Solana is flourishing. There's a lot of NFT being launched on Solana, and I kind of want to jump into to learn it, and to make a few bucks here and there if anyone even want to, but even with, I think about, and even with Ethereum, my main goal for doing all the things that we're doing is to create some content, just to have fun, just to learn new things,
a lot of
right?
cool new stuff.
Yeah. And so it was even launching the sausage party.
I would
NFT.
say, even though by most NFT people standards, the sausage kind of flopped.
Yeah.
I would say it was still a success for what we wanted out of it.
Yes. But one thing about the sausage NFT was that I want to create it because I want to learn, I want to make some art, I want to have fun, and I want to give away that art. I want people to enjoy it, right? But the problem with Ethereum is like, even then it's too expensive to be giving people these things. It's like, to me, it's like, okay, I like people to have my art. I like people to have my work. But on Ethereum, it's just like, okay, it's gonna cost me $50 to $100 every time I give people one of these. So with Solana, I'm thinking like, it's gonna be much cheaper to be able to just like, if I make the sausage, which that's the plan.
We've got the URL for it.
We've got
the name for it.
Should we tell people? Well, might as well, right?
I mean, if you're definitely gonna do it, then
yeah, I should because I feel like a lot of people
do the learning experiment.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Because a lot of people think that these, which is true though, what they think is that these 10K drops, PFP profile picture, are cash grabs, and most of them, that's true.
You're not wrong.
It's a quick cash grab. But to me, I think that it's a wonderful sort of way. It's like your first homepage, your GeoCity page. You gotta make it. You gotta it's like your first project on a blockchain. Like once you do that, you're like, okay, I understand. How
it's your hello world
exactly on a blockchain. And I think for me, especially with Solana,
there's a lot of effort for a hello world.
It is, but it's the way to learn, right? You gotta learn somehow.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna have to do it.
Fairly relatively simple contract wise, right? Compared to like some other projects that you could do.
Yeah. It's, you can't go real, even on Ethereum, there's a lot, of framework that you can, library that you can kind of import in, you pull in the code, and you can just write some stuff to kind of set the total supply and all that stuff. And that's pretty straightforward. You can't mess that up that bad, So it's a quick.
I mean, don't underestimate people. I'm
Yes,
sure
I mean,
you can.
Yes.
But
with a little bit of care, it's
pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. Okay. Of course, you can always, all these things gives you enough rope to hang yourself. So, but with a little bit of being careful on it, you can do these things, deploy these contracts, do an NFT drop quite easily. And I think, with that said, I kind of want to do the same thing with Solana.
You want to do that starter project.
Yeah, just to kind of get out there. And again, if I make a quick bucks here and there, that's great. Or if
we're not going to complain if you want to buy our sausage.
Yeah, and if no, and the best part out of this is that I gotta work out the math of this, but hopefully it's cheap enough that I can actually give people some. I can give you like a bunch, I give myself a bunch, I give random people a bunch, and maybe do a bunch of contests.
Okay, and did you mention what it's called?
Not yet, but I'll let you talk about it, because this is your idea, and I think it was a great idea.
So I've got to have the sausage pens.
Yes.
So our Solana version of the Sausage Party Club NFT is going to be called Salami.
Because a little background on this. A lot of NFT projects on Solana, they tend to like to have the soul in front of it, because soul is a symbol for Solana, right?
Yeah.
When you, and a lot of project has soul. So you have like SOLAMA, Soyama. There's like, it's in Spanish now.
Soyama.
It's in Spanish. Soyama.
My name.
And now I can't. Oh, a bunch of project has soul.
He's like, they're
Soul Scan.
I'm
like,
there.
there's so many projects, but I can't
Soul
remember.
C.
Soul C, yeah. A lot of people just like to put soul. So we figure we're going to put soul in front of it, and we're going to have Solama. I mean, not Solama, Solami. And we got a domain name
it's
for
a
it
sausage.
too. Yes.
Yeah.
So the sausage version of on Solana will be salami. Yes, that's what it's gonna be. So I'm still thinking of how to make the art kind of differentiate the art a little bit.
Because you don't want to just slap the same art.
I don't want the same, because salami should be a little bit different, maybe a little bit darker, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. That will be my job, and I'll keep you guys posted on what it will look like, and when it's launched, and when you can mint it. Whenever I get around to actually figure out the whole ecosystem.
But yeah, so I say we, but really he has been looking into Solana a lot.
Yes.
So if you have questions about Solana, he probably has a rant for you.
Yes. So yeah, so I in the adventure of figuring out Solana,
it's been fun.
It was just frustrating, because the mental model between Ethereum, what I'm used to, and what is on Solana is completely different.
It works very differently. And even with just reading the Explorer. So on if you've been following the podcast, we talk about this many times before. The way that you inspect a transaction and figure out what's going on and who does what or who buys what on Ethereum is you go to Etherscan, and you can, I think, after you spend a little bit of time, you can kind of figure out what's going on. You get a feel for it.
But then on Solana, they have SolScan, or you have the official Explorer for Solana. You can go through the blockchain and figure out the transaction. And I think I spent the last 2 weeks just every night. I would just spend like hours just figuring out what the hell, decoding what the hell is going on the blockchain when you do stuff.
Okay. The important question here
is what?
Can you watch Solana transactions on TX Street?
No, you can't. You can't. Everything works so...
Burn it all down.
Yes, burn it down. You can't see it as a graphical South Park representation.
That's all I want out of my blockchains.
Done.
To see it on TX Street. All I want.
I mean, but the problem is that supposedly you can do for what is advertised on Solana, you could do 50,000 transaction per second, Nelson.
Whew.
So I don't.
Zoom.
Oh, is it per second or per minute? Whatever it is, it's
That's
a
still
lot.
a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're gonna be able to see on TX Street, graphical because
I don't care.
it would just be so fast. It would just be like a bunch of South Park character getting train, go.
It also does it. I don't think it works the same way, like with gas and stuff, right? As Ethereum.
You do pay, no, because it's proof of history, which is like this whole different thing that I can't even explain because, last time I tried watching a YouTube video about it, I fell asleep. So I was like, you know what?
Cool.
I don't care. I'm just going to get it working.
So, is it FIFO?
FIFO?
First and
FIFO,
first out?
FIFO, FUM?
Yes. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
FIFO,
I don't care.
I think FIFO. Fast first in, first out?
Yeah.
Probably.
Like, do you just get in line?
There is an order of transaction that you go.
So not like Solana, where it's like, okay, well, if somebody else does a higher,
not like Ethereum, you meant.
That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
If somebody does a higher gas price, then you're kind of kicked back until.
Yes, there is a transaction order, and then you just, to be honest, I don't know exactly. It's not as exciting. Yeah, it's not
to watch on TX Street.
It's harder to kind of game the system.
This is the only excitement I have in my life. Okay.
Yeah, it's harder.
Don't judge me.
It's harder to be like, okay, I'm gonna pay a little bit more in gas to get my transaction up there because it all just go boop 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 boop. I mean, there is a way to I'm sure there is a way to
game it
with
a little,
things, but I don't know of the way, and things supposedly go much faster. So
there was a pun in there, and he didn't even realize it.
What is it, Alison?
He doesn't know the way.
I don't know the way.
GW.
Oh, the way. Yes. Solana does not know the way either because it doesn't use the way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Anyway.
As I derail the entire podcast with my terrible puns.
I don't even remember what's going on anymore. Okay, Salami. We're launching Salami one of these days when I get around to it.
Yeah, you were talking about how everything works differently with like looking at Soul Scan and
just decrypting
frustration.
Just decrypting transaction and way things work with each other, and it's just like mind-boggling. It takes, I think you need like a master's degree in computer science to decode what is going on the blockchain.
You also need better lighting if you're going to do that the whole time.
Yeah, like this. You can't see me. If you're watching on YouTube, you can't really see me. I'm just covering my face right now. You can't really see me. But yes, it's just frustrating.
There have been a lot of rants.
But I think after 2 weeks of going through different documentation, actually going on Solanart. Oh, Solanart is one of the big marketplace. It's kind of like OpenSea, but not works as well and not as big.
I see.
I bought an NFT. Actually, you know what? Thinking about that is my first ever purchase of an NFT in the secondary market.
Oh.
First ever.
Oh, I didn't realize you bought that off of the secondary.
I've been working in this damn industry for like more than probably a year now, and I've never bought a secondary an NFT on a secondary market. I just primary market minted, but never secondary.
Interesting.
Or never even sold one. That's not good. I mean
technically, if you count your sausage.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like we have sold some,
but that's primary market. That's not secondary market.
Well, yeah.
Anyways, I bought my first NFT on a secondary market on Solanart. I bought the caveman, so I'll post. If you watch on YouTube, I'll post a picture. He's kind of cute.
And if you look in our show notes,
I kind of like the project. It's kind of cute.
We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah, it's a crypto caveman. I'll give him a shout out.
Pretty cute.
It's kind of cute. And then supposedly they're gonna let you, if you own a caveman, you get to mint cave woman. And then they get to make baby. You get cave babies. Supposedly, I don't know, but all these projects with their crazy roadmap, whatever. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, and it's kind of cool because the way I justify my purchase is that I need to figure out how all these kind of works on the blockchain on Solana.
So I bought it. I looked through the transaction.
Everybody else is justifying their bag by saying like, this is what they're gonna do. This is why it's such great value.
Is great.
And Sun was like, I'll do this for research.
I gotta do research. But it did help though. I get what things are doing, and I found
that is something that I would suggest to anyone who wants to be in the industry, is actually having experience with these things, buying things, selling things, like actually doing the transactions and going through the entire process has been really valuable for you when you do it. That it teaches you a lot of things that you would not have realized if you hadn't actually done that. So I think that is probably one of the most important things that you don't really realize. Like, you kind of just want to like read about everything. Okay, I'm good to go. But actually doing things, actually having the experience. And if you need some experience in buying NFTs, we've got some sausages.
You need some experience minting things. Sausageparty.club, baby.
You want to mint some things that you're not going to have to compete for and pay really high gas for.
Exactly. You can wait till in the middle of the night where it's like 20 way.
Because ain't nobody buying these.
Don't say that, Alison.
When was the last time we had a sale?
2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
2 weeks. 2 weeks, Alison.
Exactly.
2 weeks. How long does it take Nike to become as big as it is? 50 years, Alison. 50 years. 50.
I think they were pretty big a lot earlier than that.
I just made up a number. I don't know. We have ways to go, okay? Ways to go. But anyways, salami coming soon, hopefully. We'll figure it out. I'm getting a hang of it. I found some good articles on telling me what Solana is, what is the difference between it. I found some good articles, so we'll add that to the show note. It really helped me, and being able to actually work on DevNet, their testnet, essentially, and just reading just spend a lot of time reading the transaction and how things work and how things interact with each other. It's slowly, I'm slowly getting of it. The curve is just steep as hell. But I think I'm getting up there. I'm getting up there where it's just gonna be smooth sailing. I hope. You know the saying is like, what you don't know kind of thing.
Yeah. What you don't know can't hurt you.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we will have numerous additional episodes talking about Sun's frustrations, but also all the things that he's learned when he's doing working on the Solana stuff. Yeah,
it's really interesting. The way that it works is just, like I said, it's just completely different. Everything is an account. Everything is programmed. One thing though, I would have to say this, is that if you enjoy functional programming in JavaScript or any language, functional programming, and when I say functional programming, I'm saying like you're doing stuff with a bunch of function without side effects.
I feel like this is one of those things that if you're doing it, you're doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it,
you don't know.
You don't know, but it's also not really that important.
Yeah, not very important. But if you really enjoy functional programming in JavaScript, you enjoy Solana, because that's pretty much the foundation of Solana. Is everything is kind of like the states being held in a different area than logic. So you have state and you put it to the logic and it spits out state, right? With Ethereum, is essentially mixed. You have a contract that you have state being mixed with logic inside of one entity. And when you want to change, like my sausage party, is that I have logic, but I also have the state of the ledger. I have who has what, who bought what. They all live in the same entity. But with Solana, everything is separated. Everything is broken down to pieces, programs and accounts. And programs is logic, accounts is state. And state don't mess with the program always lives there, that you can pass the state to the account that modify the state, but you get the state back. They all live separately.
And when we say state, we don't mean California.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just said state a lot. A lot. All I'm hearing is state.
Maybe that's what I meant, Alison. Maybe you passed California and you still get California. California doesn't live with the logic, that doesn't make sense.
It's good to know.
Makes sense, right?
Now we're just confusing things even more.
That makes logical sense. It doesn't. But anyways, we'll talk more about. I'll rant more about it. We're going on for 25 minutes already.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, should I talk more about? I
No.
don't know. No, we're done. We're done.
We're done. We're done.
I
That's
have
a
more.
good episode.
I have more.
Like
to
I
rant.
said, we'll talk about it in future
Yeah,
episodes.
stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We have a lot more to talk about.
You're going to be doing a lot more work on Solana stuff. We have other projects we're working on, so we've got a lot more to talk about.
A lot more.
That we can put in future
I could
episodes.
probably sit here and talk about Solana stuff and what I've
For
learned
hours.
for probably a whole day.
Hours.
And
trust
still
me,
not be enough.
I am the victim of his rants.
It's like, can you believe this, Allison?
He's like, Allison, I just need to tell you about Solana.
Can you believe they separate logic and state? Why would they do that?
I always say he's the one doing the research, but I know a surprising amount about Solana and Ethereum.
Can I add something?
Because
can I add
I have
something
to listen to his rants,
before
yes.
this episode ends?
Yeah.
The reason why they do things separately, it allows them to essentially make the blockchain faster. They optimize these things to make it more. They pretty much make developer lives a little bit harder because we got to manage states, we got to manage memory and all that. But in the end, they're able to optimize more on the speed.
It feels like it's very optimized, but also very componentized from what you told me.
Yeah. So they sacrifice something to gain something. As with Ethereum, it's a little bit more abstracted, but it's slower in that sense. But I would say, but you can say the same with Polygon, right? They EVM, but they're also fast.
EVM.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I think it also allows them to pair. From what I read, is that it allows them to parallel parking.
Yes. Do things in parallel?
Yes. No, there's a word. There's a word for it.
Async?
No, not async. Parallelize.
Parallelize?
Is that a word?
Okay. Paralyze versus parallelize.
Parallelize.
Very different things.
Because
one is nothing's moving.
I know one is making things faster, right? But because they separate things into components, they're allowed to do things in parallel.
That's a better way to say it.
That makes it faster. So that's I'm not all here to talk shit about Solana.
Isn't that what async is?
No, async is different. Async means that you're doing things not in the order, but you can put things back. You can be,
but you're doing
not
multiple
parallel.
Things at the same time.
No, that's not true. Though. Yeah, because async means you can push things back and do it later, but you can do it in serial, right? In the series.
Yeah, I guess.
But
you can.
parallel is like you have multi-thread, so you do things in different threads. So anyways, so not to always be digging to Solana. I think it's great. The technology is great. It's still kind of in beta. Like they said, it's still in beta.
and that's the other thing is I feel like right now you kind of have to do everything. Mm-hmm. But as it gets more popular, more people are going to build things for it. And more people are going to build things that make things easier for developers.
Yeah.
And kind of abstract things a little bit more and, not have to do the nitty gritty.
We can talk more about that later into the next episode of things I've learned. The framework that you remember at the beginning of the episode when I said there's stuff I didn't really have to really learn Rust yet because there's framework to kind of abstract some of that part away that I can kind of, help me kind of move faster.
So definitely in future episodes, we will be talking a bit more about Solana, more about all the stuff that he's learning, stuff that he's working with.
Maybe salami news.
Maybe some
coming.
salami news.
Yes.
Maybe some other NFT news.
Yes.
Because we have at least two other projects that we're working on.
We have so many ideas.
That we're
it's
actively,
not enough time to
we have a lot of ideas, but we have two projects that we're actively working on.
Yeah.
That will hopefully be coming up sometime soon. So we'll talk about those in a future episode. So yeah, there's a lot.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for our very
NFToyz.
Inconsistent podcast.
Yes. Hopefully we'll do another one.
We're trying
this year.
For consistency.
We're doing another one. But maybe not, then we'll have a lot more to talk about. Think about that.
Next podcast, 6 months from now.
It'll be a whole different blockchain being hyped. It'll be like I don't
sushi
know.
Something.
Yeah. Actually sushi is there's gonna be an NFT. Sushi is gonna be building an NFT marketplace too. I don't know how that works. But I'm sure in the next 6 months going to be all sort of NFT.
Sure.
Everyone's going to have an NFT, and that's when we know that it's going to be done for a while. That's going to be the blow off top of the bubble. It's when Allison launched her NFT.
Hey, is the sausage not mine?
It's actually mine, but when you actually like, you know what, I need to launch an NFT, of something random. Okay, when your mom launched an NFT, that's when we know it's over.
Launch an NFT.
Okay, maybe it's
even
never
if it
over.
gets really popular.
When your brother,
with my brother, yeah,
launch an NFT, I think maybe that would be the top for a bit. So we'll see. We'll let you know when to sell everything.
Right.
But anyways, that was a good episode.
Thank you.
We'll talk.
I thought so.
We will talk more about this stuff. We have so much to talk about.
Yeah, we'll be back with more.
Yeah. Adios. Bye-bye.
Best ending ever. We are pros.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. As he falls asleep.
Is this over?